Hi, Jeannie here. It's kind of late at night. I got a cat on my lap. I'm taste testing a new Absorb Plus vegan flavor, trying to get a chocolate, but not happy with it. So, lots going on right now, but I had a question come in. I got a dog over there, and I wanted to give an answer because it's a great question. So, my question is regarding the laser tapping program. I'm healing from Crohn's, and I'd love to know what kind of support can be offered, specifically around diving into and processing the emotional baggage behind the Crohn's and the gut. I understand there's a tapping video on that, but would there be able to be some other tapping videos uploaded for those? Would there be live chat support available for guidance on getting deeper into the emotions in the gut and the meaning behind having manifested this disease? So, a bunch of questions there, but really great questions. So, and again, this is where you're gonna maybe wish I could give you a simpler answer. But with anything multi-systemic like Crohn's, that's taken a long time to develop. It's a very serious, multifaceted condition. It's never simple, unfortunately. So I would say never. I did get a woman who came in right after diagnosis. She hadn't taken a single drug, and she was very clear about her emotional issues, and she was already fluent about going within and connecting to her feelings. And she was able to achieve complete remission in 6 months and then considered herself, healed after about a year or so. That's fast. So, Crohn's IBD colitis. What's in your gut? What's stored in your gut? The reasons why you manifested these diseases and not some other are going to be as varied as every snowflake is different. And this is why we call it a healing journey, because it's not like you could do one hypnotherapy session or one tapping session and go and get, oh, this is my list of 10 things. These are all the reasons why I got Crohn's, or this is why, I got colitis at this point in my life and not maybe another point in my life. The body heals in layers, and the psyche can only handle so much at a time. If you revealed everything, you'd probably throw yourself into a flare because the weight of it would be too heavy. You wouldn't know what to do with all the information you received. So you have to go step by step. And so that's why we call it peeling an onion, right? There's the first layer of the onion, and then you go, oh, look, there's another one here, and you peel that off. And, so when you're addressing any chronic disease using a tool like laser tapping, you have to just start with where you're at, right? So you would look at your life and you would say, what's not working in my life? So get a pen and a piece of paper, write down these questions as I give them to you, because these are the questions you can meditate on, you can journal on. Maybe you take them to, if you're seeing a counselor or you have a good friend who knows, or a family member that knows you really well, who's great for bouncing ideas and feedback off of. So write these questions down as I give them to you, okay? So right now, what's bugging you? What, when you look at your life, is not working? When you look at your life and you say, I wish that could be different. Or now we're not talking about your physical symptoms. We're not going there. We're going into the emotional, psychological, spiritual levels of your existence. Okay. So how's your job? How do your days look? Okay. How about where you live? Are you in a condo and you dream of being on an acreage? Are you in the suburbs and you dream of being on wild land? Like, what is your soul calling for? And that's, I got a piece of cat here. That's what you're looking for. You're not looking for the shoulds. You're not looking for what your spouse says you should like, or your parents say you should, or, oh, well, I have to be here because of my kids. That's another layer of stuff. The first layer that we're looking at is what, when you look at your life, is not working for you. Not is it working for your family or, the people or the beings that you feel responsible for. What's not working for you? What does your soul wish was different? Right? So that's the first set of questions you can ask yourself. Second set of questions are, when you look back on your childhood, and go back as far as you can, if you can go back to in utero and you know some information about how your mom was during the pregnancy, go back there. Feel into what was happening. Imagine how you might have felt as a baby in that situation. Like maybe you were an accidental pregnancy. Your mom didn't want to be pregnant. Your parents didn't want a baby. Like, what was going on? And see if you can connect to what feelings baby you was feeling at that time. Start there and then go with your key memories. Now, if this takes you days, it takes you days. Go through every single memory. You don't have to write a whole story, just jot it down. Just a one line bullet point, age 3, blah, blah, blah. In utero, blah, blah, blah. Remembered this, felt this. Age 5, this happened. I remember feeling this. And go through your whole life that way to date. Like, go through everything. And then once you've done that list, look back on, now don't do this as you go along. Don't do this till the end, okay? So you might want to stop this video right now and make your list and then come back, because you kind of want to come at this next piece with fresh eyes, or letting your list sit there for a couple of days maybe. So when you're done that list, come back and take a look at that list and see where the common points are. Was there an emotion that kept occurring over and over, right? Did you go, wow, I continually felt abandoned, or I continually felt angry, or I continually felt powerless and like a victim? Like, where are those categories where you can say, this is a dominant emotional state that seemed to occur for me, or it was a theme for me, right? Or, wow, look at this. I continually beat myself up for not performing the way I think I should have, or I always wanted to be perfect. And then I got so upset with myself when I wasn't perfect, right? Once you have those themes identified, go into your laser tapping program, go to the tap along videos, and see which of the videos already in there are on those themes, right? And you go, oh, look, there's a video here on perfectionism. There's a video here if you continually felt powerless, and there's videos for that. There's videos on sexual abuse. So you identify the common themes that were happening for you and see which tapping videos are there already. That's an easy place to start, okay? So you can start there, because that also helps you get more fluent in the technique. And then once you're more fluent in the technique, you can do your own tailor-made tapping session. And this is why laser tapping has the tutorials to teach you how to tap for yourself, right? So then you would pick an emotional state or a feeling that you kept having, and you would follow the 4-step laser tapping process. Again, when you're new to it, you got to write things down. Once you get fluent, you can just go boom, boom, boom. Go through the 4 steps in order around either that specific memory that happened, right? So when you're outlining the issue, you might say, when I think about my mom locking me in my room because I was being bad according to her, but I didn't feel I was being bad. And what I remember is, right? And so here you're outlining the issue. You're just talking about it, right? And then you go into the venting stage, right? And that made me feel, and you have a list of emotions in your ebook if you have trouble articulating your emotions. A lot of us do not have a good emotional language. We're like angry, sad, mad. Like, no, there's a way more emotions than that. And so I put them for you in a list that you can just look at and, start tapping those. It made me feel really discombobulated. I felt super confused, but at the same time, I was frustrated. And then as I worked through, I was like freaking angry. And I was like, Mom, you jerk. You're like, and that's the venting stage, right? So you would do that for each emotion or each event, like each memory. And then as you go through your list, what you might find happening, especially if you have those themes, is let's say you type on 3 memories where you felt abandoned. Well, by the time you get to memory number 4, you're like, actually, this doesn't have a charge for me anymore. I actually understand what happened. That means that your previous tapping, you got enough roots that you've collapsed that whole issue. So there may be like 5 more points on your list that you don't have to tap on because those 3 sessions that you did got to every piece of it. Okay, so that's another thing that you can do. The next thing and that's a lot, right? I've just given you possibly months of material there, but because I want to answer this question in one go, I'm going to take it to the next stage. You have, if you have any kind of technique where you can go in and connect with your body, and it can be as simple, I have this in Listen to Your Gut. You're just like, you're relaxing, maybe you're meditating with a candle or you're in the bath and you put your hand on your gut and you just feel for it and you're like, what's here? And you might start at the physical level. You might go, well, it feels tense, or, this quadrant is feeling a bit tighter than the others. And when I feel into it and I lie here, breathing, and I'm remembering what happened earlier today. And that made me feel, right? Because all of these memories and events and stuff actually get stored in our body. They get stored in our physical tissues and cells. So we can go and we can connect directly to the gut, and we can tune in and say, what's there for me today? What wants to come forward today? What's ready to be dealt with today? And you can do that every single day. It's a way of honoring your body. It's a way of, if you've had Crohn's or colitis or any kind of serious IBD or IBS for any length of time, you probably have some anger with your body, because you haven't understood what's happening. You haven't understood that your body's advocating on your behalf, that your body's trying to help you, that your higher self, your oversoul, is using the body to message you. Like, you haven't had an understanding of all that stuff. All you know is that your body's been ruining your life and stopping you from everything you want to do. And so that can be a buildup of anger. And so again, that could be a tapping session right there, right? I'm super angry at you. I want to connect with you and I want to send you love, but I freaking hate you right now. I feel like you ruined my whole freaking life, right? And you swear as much as you want. You yell, you get as passionate as you want, because you are releasing the stuff you've locked in there, right? And it's all valid and it's all good. The point of laser tapping is to get these emotions moving, and then we can release them, and then we can get underneath. And then you might get to the point where, after you vented all of that anger and that frustration and that judgment, maybe then you're at a place to go, well, and maybe, just maybe, there's a reason behind this. I wonder who I'd be if I never got this disease. I wonder if I'd be the person that I wanted to be. I wonder what my life would look like. Would it be full or empty? Would I just be chasing money and outside approval? How spiritual would I be? I wonder how much I would have in my life of the things that really matter to me. I wonder if maybe, just maybe, having a physical condition that forces me to slow down and tune in and connect deeply with my body might just be a positive thing. Maybe. And maybe, just maybe, I'm willing to open up to that possibility and to start working with my body, realizing that we're on the same page, that we're shooting for the same team, and that my body is always advocating on my behalf. Wow, that changes my life right there. That just resets everything, every framework I look through, every lens I look through. I wonder how my life would change if every symptom that appeared, I said, oh, what's going on now? Where do we need to go next? What healing, what magnificence, what gifting wants to be revealed now? Because my body is speaking to me and I'm finally listening, right? That's step 4. That's your reframe. That's your opening to greater possibilities. And what allows that languaging to come forth is that you've worked through the first 3 steps of the laser tapping technique. And so it unlocks the new possibilities. It unlocks the greater possibilities, because until you release those emotions that are locked in, you can't get to a new reality, right? So, and then once you have kind of excavated through your past that's brought you to this point, then you start watching your daily life and you start watching, how do I respond? You know, like, just again, mindfulness, paying attention. When do I become stressed? When you become stressed, you're probably noticing it 6 steps down from when you first tensed up. So this is a practice. You have to go. A lot of us don't recognize we're stressed or we're angry until, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is not stressed and 10 is super stressed. We don't even notice we're stressed till we're at like 6, maybe 7. So the practice, the daily practice, is to notice, oh, my shoulders just went tight. Okay, let's take a moment here. Let's breathe. Maybe I'm going to put my hands on my shoulders and I'm just going to bring some attention there. And I'm just going to feel it, right? And then maybe you start making a connection. Wow, every time I feel like this, my shoulders go tight. So what's happening when I feel like that? Or what's happening when I see that person? Why is that person triggering me? Why is this relationship triggering me? When I get spoken to like this, why do I feel this tightening of anger? You know, because it's not what happens to you. It's how you respond. So let's say there's a guy named Joe, and Joe says to Bill, you are a stupid loser. And Bill goes, woof, right? I'm gonna kill him, right? And then Joe says to me, you are a stupid loser. And I go, okay. It doesn't land on me. That has no place to land on me, because it's funny. It's just funny. And I'm like, okay, sure. You can knock yourself out. You can say that. You can think that. I don't care. That's how you identify whether you're triggered or not. And if you're triggered, so when Joe says to Bill, you're a stupid loser, and Bill goes, bah, I'm going to pound your face in. Why is that landing in Bill? Oh, because Bill had a father who called him stupid. Oh, that's a tapping session. Bill is insecure because he never went to university and he thinks he should have in order to be smart. That's a tapping session. Bill feels that he's a bit of a failure in his life, and maybe he has a brother that's super smart, so the brother was always the smart one. That's a tapping session. You see, so this is why it's not like, oh, tell me why I manifested Crohn's and why this disease. No, it's so individual. It's so completely individual. Your triggers, your woundings, your traumas, your pain, your frustration, your history, everything is individual to you. So you have to become your own detective. Okay. And you have to, and you can also start at a physical layer, right? Like, let's say you're getting jammed on the emotional stuff, or you've been doing a lot of emotional work and you need a break. And then maybe you've got some pain in your gut, and just tap on the pain in your gut. My gut is really hurting me right now. Describe the pain. Okay. The pain, it feels like a slow burn, right? Because pain can be diffuse, it can be focused, it can be lasered, it can be burning, it can be pounding, it can be, again, like emotions. Get descriptive. Don't be afraid to really feel into it, to really map it. Tap that out, right? And then as you're tapping, you might realize, and of course, you're always saying that, and nonetheless, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And then you go, oh, the pain seems to have moved. Now it's here in my sternum, in my esophagus. That feels, you take a moment, maybe you feel it, and you're like, it feels really tight there. It feels like I'm gripping onto something there. And the pain there is kind of just a dull, throbbing pain, right? And then maybe the pain moves somewhere else. So you can chase the pain around your body and tap on each place it kind of shows itself, and just give it permission. Just allow the pain to be. Or you might be tapping in your gut, and then that leads you into a memory, or that leads you into, I know, you know what? Because today this happened, right? And when you first start tapping, like for me, when I learned how to tap, and I don't want to freak you guys out, but I had a lot of stuff, right? I had a very physically abusive childhood. I had super dysfunctional parents. I had very challenging situations all around me. So I tapped every day for 2 years solid. That's how much stuff. And I was tapping on stuff I'd already done therapy on, because talk therapy is worth bupkis. Yeah, okay, here's where it's worth. It helps you understand where you're screwed up. It helps you understand where your pain points are. It helps you understand what traumatized you. So now you know all that, but there's no healing, there's no transformation there, because you have to go in and you have to unite the mind, body, and spirit, right? You have to have a technique that integrates. So talk therapy, which is why I suggested you go to a loved one or a friend, can help you understand your sticking points. It can help you understand where you're getting stuck. It can help you, something that you may be like, oh, dad was just like that. And your friend goes, that's not normal. Dads don't do that. Your dad shouldn't have done that. And you're like, oh, really? I thought that wasn't a big deal, because it was your norm. You've lost your perspective on it, but the body still felt the trauma. The body still felt the injustice. It doesn't matter that everybody was beaten on their kids in your community. Your body knows this is an injustice. This hurts me. This should not be happening. Like my son, when my dad yelled at him, he was 2 years old. And my son turned to me and he said, Granddad made my tummy hurt, because he automatically knew that's an injustice. And it went right here to my gut. He knew. And I was like, wow. And we all knew. There was a time that we all could feel that, boom, instantly, just like he did. And then, life happens and we don't have help and we don't have a safe place. And so these things pile up and they're stored in the tissues and cells of the body. So I hope that's given you probably a year's worth of tapping and some good places to start. And if you have any questions, use the live chat in your members area, right? But remember to look at the laser tapping ebook that you got, because it has prompts for when you're doing your own sessions if you get stuck. It has the list of emotions. It has quite a bit of help in there. So make sure you, that's right up front in the beginning of the program with the tutorials, or just start by working your tapping along with, I've got over 20 sessions in there for things that most people have to deal with when they're healing themselves. These things are very common. We've all felt abandoned. We've all felt powerless. We've all felt victimized. We've all felt angry, right? We've all had our boundaries crossed and been unable to set boundaries and been unable to say no and suffered as a result. Those sessions are all in there. So you can just go ahead and get started with those, and you might be able to do one a week and give yourself time to integrate, maybe journal or think about things that come up. Next week, do another one. That can take some time, or, you might go, oh, I'm just loving this. I'm going to do one every second day. Your body knows the pace for you, and your body knows what's right for you. So I hope that's helped you guys out. I hope that's answered your questions. And my little kitty cat has not moved this entire time, which is remarkable, because normally she'd be like walking here in front of the screen. But thanks, Marbs. Yes, and thank you. Dog hasn't moved either, so that's pretty awesome too. This is it, right? This is energy. Animals respond to energy. Your body is an animal. Your body responds to energy too. So it's exciting for you to get into this new partnership with your body, to become your body's guardian, to become the one that can create the container for safety for your mind, your body, and your spirit. And thank you. Thank you for trusting me, and thank you for joining this journey.